Y'all can't even see what I'm doing, but what I am doing today is I am making what I call a brain powder. A brain power powder. Right? It's mixed with natural herbs like bacopa, lion's mane, mushroom, turkey tail, etc. Ashwagandha, and all these are functions, to help you with your brain functions or just other functions, depending on the herb. I use it for, memory retention and just, brain functioning, energy, etc. But today, I'm really here to talk about NIL deals. Get this somewhere. Today, I'm really here to talk about NIL deals and injuries, right? So last week we seen Juju experience a ACL injury. We seen Cameron Brinks last season experience an ACL injury. We seen Horton from Seattle Storm with an ACL injury. Kyrie Irving ACL injury, right? And we've seen this as a tell of time. This has been happening consistently, since I've known, right? Since I've been hooping. Candace Parker was one of my favorite players growing up, and she tore her ACL multiple times. I've also tore my ACL multiple times. My first ACL injury was going into my freshman year at an open gym, and I tore my ACL coming down from a rebound. Somebody happened to be under me, coming down on the rebound. I landed on their foot. I could not get back up. And typically, I was one of those players who would get injured and keep playing. So as soon as I went down, everybody's like, get up, get up. But I physically could not get up. Not only did I tear my ACL, I tore my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus in that occurrence. A severe knee injury. Blew out my whole knee almost. Right? So what I'm here to say is in the day that I played, I didn't even feel like playing, I'm going to be honest with you. And it's open gym, so it's technically optional. But as I was going through the research of ACL injuries and seeing how they're more prominent in women than men, I've known that for a while now. But some things I didn't know that possibly could affect your ACL injury was, being on your menstrual. And that day I happened to be on mine and did not feel like playing. Right? If I had listened to my gut literally, then, possibly I don't experience that injury. What I will say is that players need to be more intentional with their bodies and their recovery. Right? Now we can say Juju had an injury prior to that game. And I don't know if that affected her knee injury. But as coaches, as players, we have to be in tune with our bodies, right? We have to be aware of, what our bodies are telling us. I know we love the game, but at the end of the day, these are lingering injuries, right? My knee is throbbing right now. And it's a forever recovering process. You don't just get to say, I'm done hooping, this is it, right? Because you're going to feel those, like I said, lingering pains forever, potentially. So you want to stay fit, you want to stay in the lab, and it's honestly the reason why I stay so active because I know the moment that I get inactive or the moment that I become inactive, that honestly, I don't know. I don't know and I don't want to figure out, to be honest with you. I don't know and I don't want to figure out. But I think it's important. I'm just here to say I think that it's very important. I'm just here to say I think that it's very important that we pay attention to our bodies because we only get one. Only truly get one. Coaches, my second ACL injury happened to be in college. The first semester, jeez, the first semester of my senior year. And, our coach gave us, our pregame conversation was, way longer than it should have been. We got on the court, we had probably 8 minutes, right? That's 8 minutes to stretch and warm up. Oh, I think that was another issue with that injury. I won't go into detail. I won't go into great detail about that day and what transpired that day. What I will say is, coaches, it's time to be more intentional with our players. I have people saying, "Well, you can't just take the day off." Like, say it's a menstrual issue, right? Well, we can't just take a day off. I had a male tell me that. Be honest with you, men have to stop policing women, right? And saying what we can or cannot do. If you're telling me that you, as a man, you would willingly put my body in jeopardy of injury because you don't know anything about a cycle, right? It's just, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's just offensive. It's very offensive. It's very tone deaf. Because at the end of the day, I've had players called load management in the NBA, right? Same thing here. I've had players, who have been injured, and of course they still want to play. As a player, you still want to play. But I'm not going to risk a severe injury for you to play in a game that we're probably going to whip the other team. Right? Let's see what the team can do without you. And if I really need you to play, I'll have you jump on that bike, do a couple up and downs so you can get loose, get warm. And then, we can express that option. But if you think that I'm going to lose you for a whole season, for one game, a season and a half, season and a half, depending on where you're at, for one game, it's not happening on my watch, at least. Right? And that's just me. That's just me, somebody who has been through a lot in the game. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. So as a coach, as I like to say, I'm a player's coach. I like to connect with my players. Like, I feel you. You're seen, you're heard, I feel you. Now I'm also able to establish and recognize who is just trying to get over. Because there will be players who are just trying to get over because they think they can. But typically, I'm going to be honest with you, I've never had that problem. Never had that problem. So, I do want to say that the recovery on an ACL injury, you have a lot of time, right? People don't understand. When you have an ACL injury, when I tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus, I don't know what it feels like to be shot. I've never been shot before. But I can imagine that's what it feels like to be shot. All right? Then when you're going through the surgery and the recovery process, you literally have to learn how to walk again. It's like dead weight. Right? I have my second ACL injury. My doctor didn't want me to walk for a whole month. That's how severe the injury is. One, be kind, because some of you guys say, "Oh, this person tore the ACL because it's their fault because they should have done this and they should have done that." I think that's just ridiculous. Honestly, I think it's just ridiculous, and those commenters typically get no response from me, and if they do, it's probably not a pleasant one because the audacity of you to say something so ridiculous. But like I said, the upside is when you do go through that recovery process, you get to work on a lot of things that probably were deficient in, right? Now it's time to work on things that you're deficient in, right? Some people take too much time off when they get injured, not doing anything, right? When they get injured in general, not doing anything, right? You can sit down, you can dribble, right? Your feet ain't broke, your butt ain't broke, your hands ain't broke. You can sit down and dribble. When you get to a point where you can stand and move around a little bit, you can work on your form shooting. When you get to the point where, the doctor's like, okay, you can't run around, but you can walk around, like you can move around, you can start working on your shot, right? Your hip activation, mechanics. That's what I did. Like, people think that, I don't know, people think that I was a born shooter or what, right? Because that's what I'm known for today. Today I'm known for shooter. My mid-range always been, on point. I will say that. But my three ball, I don't think I made my first 3-point shot to my senior year, and I only shot one. I turned down a lot of threes, so that might have been psychological. But I didn't hit my first three until my senior year in high school. Then after that, once I tore my ACL, I just took off on the shooting, right? I just became a phenomenal shooter, a volume shooter. And I think those are things that people need to work on. I became, I went from playing a post player in high school to having to transition into a guard. That wasn't easy. And it legit takes, like, we talk about Haley Van Lith and we talk about Kiki Rice and we talk about, a lot of different players and their transitions into being true point guards and how they don't necessarily get grace that first season. It takes a lot to become a point guard, honestly. It takes a lot to transition, right? It might be easier to go from guard to point guard, right? Shooting guard to point guard rather than post player to power forward, small forward to point guard. But what I'm saying is during that injury, it's possible. And you can't sleep, you can't take those days off when you get that opportunity. That's your time to watch film and learn from your past mistakes as far as, making reads and whatever you feel like you need to work on, right? Passing. I don't see too many phenomenal passers today. So that's your time to work on those things. You have to see these things as a blessing and not become defeated, because the biggest thing with the ACL injury is the mental, right? You do sometimes feel like you're defeated, right? And how am I going to overcome? Before, an ACL injury was the end of your career. Today, with technology, when I tore my ACL, the doctor said before, an ACL injury was the end of your career, especially a trio, you short 3 ligaments. So Understand that you're getting an opportunity that some people also did not get. So what are you going to do with your opportunity? Are you going to say, woe is me? Or are you going to overcome? That's the toughest battle. The rehab is hard. The rehab is not easy. All right, the rehab is mentally draining, especially the rehab that I had. Honestly, I stopped going to rehab because that range of motion therapy at the hospital, that is, I didn't stop rehabbing, but at the hospital, that range of motion therapy is mentally fatiguing, strenuous, it's painful. I'm on the recovery bed, on the training bed, screaming, hollering at the top of my lungs. And the physical therapist tells me, you're actually doing really good. The football players that come in here, they cry, right? She told me that was not that was not. I don't know if she thought that was a motive that was motivate me more. That did not motivate me, right? I'm just here to say to all my ACL warriors, because you are a warrior, right? These wounds on your knees. Some of you guys, I had the cadaver on one, and then the orthoscopic, I think it's called, on the other. So the scars that we carry, makes us a warrior. We were wounded in battle. It's like a soldier. We were wounded in battle. You got your Purple Heart. Now, how do you overcome? And believe that you overcome. And to our tribes, the people that, hold us down in these times, understand that it's mental. It's mentally challenging to be there for, each and every one of us. Now, as we enter the second half of this conversation, NIL deals. And I was a little more upset than I am today. And that's why I be wanting to record when I'm a little bit more upset. Because NIL deals are this NIL stuff is getting ridiculous. And I don't know if it's, honestly, with as ridiculous as it's getting, I don't know what the longevity, what it looks like long term. The portal, all of that, I don't know what this looks like long term. Right? Last week I seen like numerous coaches quitting because, they're over the portal thing, they're over the, the running and chasing money. I gotta give this kid $1 million to come play here. And do I think that you should be getting paid for your likeness? Yes, absolutely. Right? I grew up, like I said this all the time, I grew up in an era where we were eating top ramen noodles to make it. Right? Like people complain today, like today's kids are very entitled. So you have kids complaining about most redundant things. Going to school and having to work. Let that be one. I'm talking about just you. I'm not talking about your athletes. I'm talking about just your school. Regular going to school people. And I had to play in college and work and play and go to school. You know how hard that is? To play, to wake up at 7 for your 7 o'clock classes, be in class for however many hours, go through all your classes throughout the day, go to practice, then work. Or work before practice, then go to practice. Because I had an on-campus job. An on-campus job I had was a laborer's job. Right? We're setting up events. You got 80-pound wooden tables. You're setting up football events. All right? track events. It was not an easy job. Then having to go to practice, right? You think anybody gave me any leeway for that? And go to rehab on top of that, right? Physical therapy. Think anybody gave a damn? No, I'm from the era where your coach did not care what you had going on, for real. Nobody was checking in on you to see if your mental health was, none of that. And that was a problem. That is a problem, right? I'm happy that you guys get that support nowadays. But it is tough on coaches nowadays to coach this entitlement. It doesn't just come from the players. The parents are some of the worst people ever. See parents with kids, little kids, treating the sport, and really to me, disrespecting the sport. You have a bunch of parents, and I was talking to an NIL agent a few days ago. You have a bunch of parents who've never played sports before, never played basketball before, acting like they have. Acting like they have some type of real basketball knowledge, real accolades in the game. And the truth is, you don't. And some of you are the hardest people to deal with when it comes to a coach, being a coach, a trainer, an agent, etc. Because you guys are delusional. Sometimes they say it's good to be delusional, but this is not beneficial delusion, right? You guys are in high school competing with your teammates, right? You're having your children compete with their teammates on who's better each and every day and who should score this. You need to score this many points each and every day. That means that you're not putting the team ahead. You're not putting the welfare and the goal of the team at the forefront. You're putting your own individual selfishness at the forefront. And that's a problem. And that's a problem that's going to continue to plague us. And most of you guys are doing it for money. You guys are treating your children like toy soldiers. You're treating the game like it's a chore. So some of your kids, do they love the game? I don't believe so. I believe that they do it because you want them to. Some of you guys be in workouts beating on your kids during the workout. Sit down during the workout, be quiet, and be a parent. All right? Just sit there, read a book or something. Then we get to college. Then we don't realize that there are a lot of things going into college, right? If your kid is a top kid, right? If your kid is a top kid today, they're likely to get a scholarship, right? Seeing, what was it, Calipari? Say, there's kids in high school that deserve a scholarship. But coaches are waiting to see who is going to enter that portal. And that's what you parents don't understand today. That's what you kids don't understand today as far as the work ethic. You're not putting in the work, but yet you guys are saying you guys want to go to the league, you guys want to go Division I, but you're not putting in the work. Not only do you have to fight against the reclass, and we'll get to that, but now you got to go against the people in the portal. And the people in the portal are top priority right now. That's what you have to understand. I think I seen the other day that there's 1,500 kids in the portal, 2,500 kids in the portal right now, which means that that's a lot of kids, right? That you have to compete against. So if you're not putting in the work, don't say that you want it. Now you have to put in the work 10 times more than ever. Don't try to shortcut. Don't try to shortcut and think that you know how to do it better than the people who have done it. That money up. It's your ROI, your return on investment, right? Get you a good trainer. Get you a trainer that loves the game. Get you a trainer that's serious. Because some of you guys got 7-Eleven trainers. And I say 7-Eleven trainers because there's a trainer on every block, like a 7-Eleven. That don't mean that they're good, right? So, get you a trainer that's a mentor. So, back to the portal. You got all these people competing in the portal. One thing I don't like about the portal, however, is all these kids that go to the portal who just going in the portal because they don't like the coach, they don't like their role for the year, whatever. It's like the easy way out, right? When really, unless you really like that, your first year you may not excel. It's different from going to, and some of you guys weren't even open division, whatever that looks like, in the top division in your high school. But then you want to be the best when you get to college, and there's girls that's juniors and seniors on the team who have been with the program for 2-3 years. You expect to come and play their minutes and do what they do. But you ain't necessarily like that. Being delusional, right? You ain't necessarily putting in the work. You ain't staying in the gym after workouts. You're not getting up at before the sun rises, getting in there with a trainer. You're not pulling the coach to the side saying, can we watch film? You're not doing that. But you get mad at the coach and you want to go somewhere else. Right? That's not everybody. Some people enter the portal for very valid reasons. Alright? Game is very political. Now you got the people that's the top people and they orchestrate everything. I need this many touches, I need this, that, and the third. They're running it like it's a professional, like you in the WNBA, like you on that contract. The NBA, you on that contract.
Like, for instance, do you think the NBA will ever have open free agency during the NBA playoffs? I doubt that. Right? It's got to be sometime after all this is over. Right? It's got to be when the schools have finished playing. There's got to be some sort of way to track and monitor and penalize tampering like there is in the NBA. There's got to be a guideline of what you can do in free agency, which is basically what it is. The 2 windows, yeah, I'm in favor for anything that doesn't interfere with what you're trying to do as a coach with your team. Even though I think players on every team that's playing in the tournament have already decided I'm either staying or I'm leaving. But it's never been harder to, at least in the pros, who's under contract and who's a free agent. It's very difficult to live in an environment where every single kid on every team throughout the country, on all 350-some Division I teams, is a free agent.
And some players, I totally get it. But you also cannot lose sight of what the goal is. Is the goal to win as a team? Like, be likable. Some of you guys are not likable teammates. You can be a dog and be likable. Then some of you guys are leaving the school because your school offered you 1.5 mil or $40,000. Not 40,000. For let's say 40,000. 40,000 a year, right? Plus your scholarship, plus housing, plus all of that, everything plus 40,000. And you say, I want the school that's gonna give me 80,000. Right? Great school. You at a top 25 school. You doing your thing. The coaches rock with you. The organization as a whole, the institution as a whole rock with you. You want to be greedy.
What shocked me beyond belief was after we made it to the Final Four just 18 months ago, the very first time I met with the players, 8 of them decided they were going to put their name in the portal and leave. I said, don't you like it yet? No, I love it. I love Miami. It's great. But the opportunity to make money someplace else created a situation that you have to begin to ask yourself as a coach, what is this all about?
All right. Let's say you're getting $500K. You want $800. They said we can't do that this year, but next year you put up the same numbers and consistency, we'll get you $900. And you say, no, I want that $800 now. Like, do we love the sport? Because I have to ask you, do we love the sport? It's one thing to want to go play on a bigger platform. It's one thing to want your role to change. Like, you want to go from small guard, or not small, shooting guard to point guard, or center to small forward, or power forward, or whatever. I get that. Because you're thinking at the next level, you're going to play this position and you need to prepare yourself. All right, I don't know what Haley Van Lif's deal was, but let's say Haley Van Lif, right? Let's say she wanted to be a point guard. She wanted to excel at the point guard. She wanted to go play for a point guard coach. And that's why she left, right? She felt like the program, she wanted to go play for a bigger program, compete for a championship. She didn't feel like she can do that where she was. Those are different scenarios that I can respect. Some of you guys are just shitting on the game, if we're being quite frank with it. You guys are just shitting on the game. It's ruining other opportunities for people who really just love the game and just want to play the game. Do I think, like I said, people deserve to get paid their worth? Absolutely. It's some players like Juju. I looked at, her numbers yesterday. I don't know how accurate they are, but I looked at her numbers yesterday. Some of you guys are off seeking $1 million in deals, and then I look at her, and it doesn't say that. Does that mean that that's not what it is? No. Can the numbers be off? Can somebody have got, the wrong numbers? Absolutely. But all I'm saying is her numbers don't say that. But we can sit here and argue that her numbers should say that. Right? But I might, because I want to stay home, I might, say, I'm not tripping off of that. And if you really like that, you should be able to go where you go. You should be able to make the team, right? You should be able to change the program, right? Because that's what she's done. People can argue many things, and, I know some of you guys don't have the greatest things to say, and you guys are very critical of players' games, and I am too, right? I think each player can work on certain things, absolutely, to make the team better. That's, better for the team and their ability to win and not chasing records per se? Absolutely. But I also can be a realist as well. But when it comes to the NIL deals, like I said, I talked to an agent the other day. I've seen what, he's looking for and what different agencies are looking for. And I think it's time, like I said, like, we got to fall in love with the game. We got to go back to falling in love with the game and stop falling in love with the money. And they say money is the root of all evil. When they say money is the root of all evil, it really can be. It really can be, because I've seen people do some strange things for the money. And to me, it's changing the game. It's changing the way that we see the game. It's changing the way how we play the game. It's changing the way how, it's just changing the game. So, like I said, be realistic when it comes to the portal, when it comes to, coaches in the portal. Coaches, they're looking for the most experience. So understand that. So I've said this for years now. Players really shit on the JUCO, right? Nobody wants to go JUCO. I'm telling you, you guys are gonna have to start going back JUCO. JUCO used to be popping. I'm gonna be honest with you. It used to be hella bounce backs going to JUCO to get that. Instead of the portal, right? It used to be you go play JUCO, and then from the JUCO you go back to Division I basketball, right? You got the portal. But for some of you players that are not getting recruited because of the portal, you should go JUCO, especially because, from my knowledge, they've passed where you can play your years and then still get your 4 years of NCAA eligibility. And I feel like that's important when we talk about the portal. That's important, right? A lot of people, we're not here for that. But I think when we talk about the portal, that's important. To be able to go back or go and still get your eligibility. Because some of you guys will, like Coach said, you guys should be Division I talent. But because of the portal, you haven't had the opportunity. So I think that it's important, and that, some people don't like that. Some people don't like that. Oh, they're going to be 6 years in. If they weren't good enough, they weren't good enough. But are they not good enough? Or is it so many people in the portal, and the portal so oversaturated that it's not giving these high school athletes an opportunity to play? That's something that people on the outside got to look at. Like, I look at things from a whole. I don't look at things from the half, right? I look at things that from the cup is half full, not half empty. How is that fair that a kid could be Division I talent but didn't get to go Division I because of the portal? And, last but not least, the reclassifying. The reclassifying has become just, nefarious at this point. Because why are you in high school at 20 years old, going on 20 years old? My thing about the port or the reclassifying, can we get a list of people who are not true freshmen, sophomores, seniors, etc.? Right? Because yes, do I think that some kids should reclassify, and all of the kids that I've known to reclassify, most of them, right? Let's say 10 out of 10, 8 of them successful. McDonald's All-Americans, champions. Yes, some of them are, they're very tall for their age, I would say, I guess. and maybe they need to learn how to grow into their body. Some of them are short, and they need to develop their bodies, that bump and that strength. So, I'm not as critical as some people are because they feel like they are disadvantaged. And I think that, in this game, you have to play the game. If you don't play the game, you get left behind. So we can complain about the game, or you can get in the game. And some of that is, if you think you're like that, if you think your kid is like that, and they want to play Division I, or they can play Division I, there's some things that you got to look at, right? And if you're okay with, at the end of the career, your kid or you as a player didn't go Division I, you didn't seek reach your top potential, your goal, and you could have, if you would have reclassified, do you want to look back and say, I could have, should have, would have? Do I think that there needs to be like something done about that, the reclassifying? Yes, I think it's ridiculous. All right, 1 year, that's one thing. Years is ridiculous. And capping off at 20 is the cap. 20 can't be like, I forgot, you can't be like 2019, 19, 20? That's crazy to me. It's absolutely crazy to me. These are grown-ass adults playing against kids. Just like when you have a 9U team playing against a 12U team. It's ridiculous. It looks crazy. Why are you having a 12-year-old play with a bunch of 9-year-olds? And you're doing it with a smile on your face like you've accomplished something so grand. All right? So I think there needs to be some regulations and some things done. And I think that we will see in the future some things being done about the reclassing and the NILs, because you got kids staying in college for years and years and years, especially after the COVID situation, so that they can, make more money. Even though half of them obviously are going to go professional and make more money. And I don't think that's a problem with the guys as far as the ones that are going to the league, right? But as far as the women, it's such a disparity in financial, right, gain, that you are going to see these people, a lot of kids reclassing, and so they can make that money. I just want to get back to the love of the game. That's all I'm here to say today. I just want to get back to people who love basketball, right? I just want to get back to coaching people who love basketball, because you can tell who loves basketball and who's doing it for the money. Money, money, money. Right? So, I personally, and this is the reishi mushroom right here, the last one for me today. I want to get back to coaching kids who love basketball